Hey, what's going on YouTube? You know what it is when you clicked it. It's your man Soul here. We back with another video. Today we are doing the Disc Priest for the Wrath of the Lich King Classic 335. You know what it is. I ain't going to drag it out too long. I do want to say this though. I did read the comments. My volume was a little low in my previous video, and that was just due because I wasn't feeling that great, and I didn't want my weird sounding voice like permeating through people's ears, so I lowered my volume a little bit just to make me sound some semblance of normal. But I'm back. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm not 100% yet, so you might still hear me pause a little bit, but I'm feeling better. I got some water with me, so we're gonna make it through, and I got my volume turned up, so let's get it rocking. First things first, in the disc tree, we're getting Twin Disciplines. So this is going to increase the damage and healing done by your instant spells by 5%. This talent in and of itself isn't really not that important on its own. It's better than the latter, which is Unbreakable Will, which we'll get into in a second. But this kind of kicks off the first kind of motif of a Disc Priest. I know when you think Disc Priest nowadays, you think shields and damage, but Disc Priests are also very mana efficient, and this is going to kind of kick off that mana efficiency as we get lower into the tree. But like I was saying, this is better than Unbreakable Will. Unbreakable Will is just reducing the duration of your CC effects on you by 30%. In Raid, you're not going to be chain targeted by CC effects, so you really don't need it. Moving down, we have Silent Resolve, another skippable PvP talent to me. What this does is reduce threat generated by your holy spells and gives you some dispel protection. There's not a lot of things in PvE that's going to dispel your powered shield or your renews or anything like that, so you can skip this one. Moving over here, we have Improved Inner Fire. This is pretty much a easy no-brainer pick. Increases the effect of Inner Fire by 45% and gives you some extra charges. Gotta love it. Next, we have Improved Power Word Fortitude. This is another great talent. It's going to increase the effect of your Power Word Fortitude and your Prayer of Fortitude by 30%, also while giving you a flat 4% increased stamina. Gotta love that. Over here we have Martyrdom, which is another skippable PvP talent. Just gives you some spell pushback protection when you are affected by a melee or ranged critical hit. Unless you're just tanking as a Disc Priest, you're not going to see those effects, so skip that. Moving on down, we have one of the early staples of the Disc Priest tree. We have Improved Power Word Shield, going to increase the damage absorbed by your Power Word Shield by 15%, so just making you a much more efficient shielder. Next, we got Inner Focus. This is kind of like the priest version of the paladin spell. I believe it's Divine Plea. Double check. It is Divine Favor. Divine Favor. There we go. So what Inner Focus does is, when activated, reduces the mana cost of your next spell by 100% and increases the critical strike chance by 25%. So kind of like a good emergency button, a good oh shit button. It's not Nature Swiftness. It doesn't make the next spell instant. So if you activate Inner Focus and you try to cast Greater Heal or Penance, you're still going to get those cast times and that channel effect, but it's still a strong emergency button. So definitely take it. Moving over, we have Meditation. This is going to allow 50% of your mana regeneration to continue while casting. You see what I'm talking about, that mana efficiency? Now we're starting to get a little bit deeper into it. Moving on down, we have Absolution. This is going to reduce the mana cost of your dispel effects by 15% when you max it out. This is a skippable talent. Generally, you're not really just going to be a dispel bot. Like, to me, this is a PvP talent because you're going to be dispelling a lot, but there are occasions where you're going to be dispelling in raids a lot. The Lich King is one of them, especially in 10-man, where Disc Priest kind of shines. Even in 25-man, Disc Priest shines because you're going to be dispelling, you're going to be shielding. But I don't think it's really necessary to include Absolution as part of the talent build setup just for dispels, so we're going to skip it. Another thing you're going to notice is that, in my opinion, Disc Priest isn't the most flexible when it comes to talent picks, so you got to choose wisely. Next, we have Mental Agility. This is going to reduce the mana cost of your instant cast spells by 10%. So even though this doesn't have very important instant casts yet, this is a very good talent, and it's really good because of the next talent, which is Soul Warding. This reduces the cooldown of your Power Word Shield by 4 seconds, which effectively makes it an instant cast spell, so it's directly affected by Mental Agility. So this is a very good talent, just making you a very efficient shielder, stopping a lot of damage on the incoming raid if you can get a lot of shields out, so really good talent. Over here we have Improved Mana Burn, another PvP talent, skip it. Next, we have Mental Strength. This is going to increase your intellect by a flat 15%. Gotta love that. Over here we have Reflective Shield. So this is an optional talent. When you max it out, it causes 45% of the damage you absorb with Power Word Shield to be reflected back at the attacker, causing no threat. To me, this is optional because the damage that this does really isn't high. Even at 25 man, where you can get a lot of shields out, it's really not that high, and it costs 2 talent points on a stringent talent build already. So if you want to finagle some talent points and get this, and you want to eke out as much damage as you can, maybe you're doing a speed run and you're just trying to get as much numbers up there as you can, sure. But in practicality, no, you don't need that. Moving down, we have Focus Power. This is going to increase the damage and healing of your spells by 4%. And in addition, your master spell cast time is reduced by 1 second. So really just a flat healing increase. You can't be mad at that. Moving over here, we have Enlightenment. This is going to increase your spirit and spell haste by 6%. 2 things that priests love, so gotta take that. Moving down, we have Improved Flash Shield. This is going to reduce the mana cost of your Flash Shield by 15%. So I'm gonna stop right there and say, look how many mana cost reductions we've gone through. We have this one. We have the reduced cost on the reduced mana cost on from Soul Warding. We have Mental Agility. We have a lot of and we have Meditation, which allows mana regeneration, a bigger bulk of it. So a lot of mana return, mana gain, mana efficiency talents. I told you it was going to get deep. But anyway, so this reduces the mana cost of your Flash Shield by 15%, which is like one of your mainstay filler spells for healing as a Disc Priest, and increases the critical strike chance of your Flash Shield by 10% on friendly targets at or below 50%. So when things get a little spooky, you can be a little bit more effective. Moving over, we have Power Infusion. Now, I did a whole tier video listing out the classes that I think, from top to bottom, the classes that I think should get Power Infusion. Power Infusion is a very powerful cooldown. Chances are in a raid group, your raid leader is probably just going to assign Power Infusion to your top caster pumper, because this is just a casting speed spell, not attack speed. Pardon me. But I do want to say, if you are a Disc Priest, you should do some research, like looking at my video, and see how Power Infusion affects different casters differently, because it's not like Hysteria where you can just set and forget. You can just put it on somebody and let them go to town. Power Infusion has certain windows for certain classes, so you want to make sure you're giving it at the most opportune time. I said this in my Power Infusion tier video. You probably should not give Power Infusion to a healer. It should not be used as a mana gainer or mana relief. There are other things for that. You can potion, you can ask for an innervate, you can drop mana tide totem, you can ask for a hymn of hope. There are so many things. Power Infusion is too powerful of a DPS cooldown to be treated as just a simple mana return or mana relief. So I do want to say that. But moving on, we have Focused Will. So this is going to increase the critical strike chance by 3%. And after taking a critical hit, which you really shouldn't, you should never see the secondary effect of this. The secondary effect is kind of a PvP thing. You're really only taking Focus Will for the spell critical strike chance. And the reason that's important for another talent coming down the line, I've seen people who skip Focus Will thinking that the 3% crit isn't that impactful. And in the grand scheme, it might not be, but as we get lower, you'll see. I've seen people like do the 1 and then go into Reflective Shield, and that's the way you would get it. But I think just double down, just get the whole thing, just get all 3% of the spell critical strike chance, and you'll see why in a second. Moving on down, we have Renewed Hope. This is going to increase the critical strike chance of your Flash Heal, Greater Heal, and Penance by 4% on targets affected by Weakened Soul, which is the debuff you get for when a priest gives you Power Word Shield. And you have a 100% chance to reduce all damage taken by 3% for 1 minute to all friendly party and raid targets when you cast Power Word Shield. This effect has a 15-second cooldown. So this is a very strong talent. Renewed Hope is a very strong talent. It basically puts a DR across the raid when you cast Power Word Shield, which is crazy. And it still gives you some of that spell crit we were just talking about from the Focus Will talent. So really good talent. Next we have Rapture, which is probably what makes Priest the most mana efficient healer, or can be the most mana efficient healer. So Rapture, when you when your power word shield is completely absorbed or dispelled, you are instantly energized with 2.5% of your total mana, and you have a 100% chance to energize your shielded target with 2% of their mana, 8 rage, 16 energy, or 32 runic power. This effect can only occur once every 12 seconds. So here you have a mana return on your powered shield when it's absorbed or dispelled, and it's meant to be absorbed or dispelled, so you're not losing anything, and you're giving resources to whoever you cast it on. And I just want to say, 32 runic power, me being a fucking Death Knight fanboy, 32 runic power, that's crazy. So Rapture is a very, very potent, powerful talent that cannot be skipped by any means. Gotta love it. Moving over, we have Aspiration. So this is going to reduce the cooldown of your inner focus, power infusion, pain suppression, and penance by 20%. Sorry about that. So basically, Aspiration just reduces the cooldown of your important micro and major cooldowns. Gotta love that. Moving over, we have Divine Aegis, one of my favorite talents in the disc tree. So critical heals create a protective shield on the target, absorbing 30% of the amount healed last 12 seconds. So Divine Aegis, when you let's say you cast Greater Heal on a tank and it critically hits, it's going to put a shield on them that's separate from Powered Shield. There's no Weakened Soul debuff attached to it. There's no cooldown attached to Divine Aegis. It just happens when you crit. This can happen off of any of your healing spells, whether it be not Prayer of Mending. I'm not sure if it's Prayer of Mending, but it can happen off of Renew. It can happen off of Prayer of Healing. It can happen off of Penance. It can happen off of Heal, Greater Heal, Flash Heal. So Divine Aegis is a very strong talent because it's double dipping or double downing, I guess, on the absorb effect of the priest. So if you have a powered shield on somebody and you get a strong crit and now they have a Divine Aegis, they're not going to take a lot of damage for a little bit. So Divine Aegis is a very powerful cooldown, and it's also the reason why I suggest you max out Focus Will, because having 3% more crit just means more chances for Divine Aegis. So that was the future that I was looking into. But Divine Aegis is a very strong cooldown. Gotta love it. Next, we have Pain Suppression. So Pain Suppression is an external. It instantly reduces the friendly target's threat by 5% and reduces all damage taken by 40%, and increases resistance to the spell mechanics by 65% for 8 seconds. So Pain Suppression is more than likely going to be your tank external by virtue of the 40% DR effect that it has on it. Don't fret too much about the 5% threat. Like, again, if your tank is worried about losing 5% of his threat in exchange for a 40% wall, chances are they would trash about threat anyway. So never fret about using Pain Suppression unless it's the start of a fight and like you paint up right as the tank is hitting and they drops all threat and the DPS goes off and it kills somebody. Sure, that scenario could happen maybe, but Pain Suppression, use it when it's called for. Moving over, we have Grace. So your Flash Shield, Greater Heal, and Pendant spells have a 100% chance to bless the target with Grace, increasing all healing received from the priest by 3%. This effect stacks 3 times, for a total of 9%, and lasts 15 seconds, and only one target can have Grace on them at a time. So this is just a really good either triage or tank healing thing. So Grace is really important, especially when there is a lot of tank damage, because it just makes you a more effective healer. Having 9% increased healing on one target is really good, especially when combined, which we'll get to in a second, Penance, because Penance, you know what, no, I'll save it, but Grace is really good, you should take it. Moving over, we have Borrowed Time. So this is going to increase, it's going to give you 25% spell haste after you cast Powered Shield. So what you can do is, like, you can cast Powered Shield and now you have a super fast cast right after that. So you can cast Power Shield and get off a super quick Greater Heal or a super quick Pendants channel. So it's really good there. And it increases the amount of your Powered Shield absorb equal to 40% of your spell power. So it's just really, really good. But a lot of these penultimate talents are really strong. Borrowed Time is just an example of that. And you definitely want to take it. Do not skip. And for the Capstone talent, we have Penance. Launches a volley of holy light at the target, causing 240 holy damage or 670 to 756 healing instantly every 1 second for 2 seconds. So you are correct in assuming that Penance can be used both either on a enemy mob or a friendly target. And as I'm hovering over it, you see how the 30 and the 40 are different colors. So if you're targeting an enemy, it has a 30-yard range. If you're targeting an ally, it has a 40-yard range. So that's what Penance is there for. And like I was trying to get into with Grace, you can instantly get the maximum stacks of Grace when you hit Penance. Unfortunately, Penance isn't affected by the Twin Disciplines talent. I see a lot of confusion there. As I was like, just researching and like talking to people, it's like Penance is a channeled spell, right? So channel spells are still considered cast times. It's just in reverse. So like for instance, if you're casting Greater Heal, you do the cast and then the effect. Penance is the effect and then the cast, if that makes sense. So you shoot the effect is instant, but you're channeling it to maintain the effect, which still is susceptible to interrupts and silences, which still gets interrupted when you move. So it's not an instant cast spell, it's just a channel spell. So I just want to make sure the difference is known, because I see a lot of confusion with that. But we've completed the disc tree. Now we're going to go into the holy tree. And the holy tree, we're going to just fire off right now. We're definitely getting healing focus, because it's going to reduce the pushback suffered by your healing spells while getting damaged while channeling or casting by 70%. That is a huge number. You cannot ignore that, in my opinion. Next, we have Improve Renew, which increases the amount healed by your Renew by 15%. Renew won't get used too much. It's not like your mainstay healing ability, but a 15% boost will not hurt anything, and it's a really good talent, so take it. Next, we have Holy Specialization. This is going to increase the critical strike chance effect of your holy spells by 5%. So this is going to help fuel your divine aegis, because guess what our holy spells? Prayer of Mending, Prayer of Healing, Heal, Greater Heal, Flash Heal. So this is going to help you fuel some more divine aegises, and 5% crit to healing spells is always great. Next, so I see a lot of like weird talent spreads when it comes to going into the holy subspec. For the purposes of this video, we're going to do this. We're going to get Desperate Prayer, because that's an emergency heal on yourself, and we're going to get Inspiration. Inspiration, if you don't know from the Shaman video, is the same talent as the Ancestral Healing, which just reduces your target's physical damage taken by 10% when you heal them. So it's the same effect from TBC, well, not even from TBC, because the TBC effect is armor, but the inspiration is there. No pun intended. But inspiration is very important to take, especially when reducing tank damage, so you definitely want to take it. The Desperate Prayer is a great emergency button. But when it comes to weird spells like I was talking about, I've seen people not take Desperate Prayer and like maybe get like 1 in inspiration and put the rest in spell warding. So let me just get this off really quickly. So spell warding, when you max it out, reduces all spell damage taken by 10%. Innately not a bad talent. To me, is it worth not taking Desperate Prayer or Inspiration? Hell to the no. So I just skip spell warding, to be honest. In reality, you'll survive without the 10% spell damage reduction, to be honest. You'll survive, especially in 25-man, like where there's more healers available. Maybe in 10-man to ease the blow of like AoE or raid healing, you take this. I can see that, like if your guild is just a strict 10-man guild, sure, but in 25-man, even at 10-man, like you really shouldn't need spell warding. Like these two talents I think are too important to skip out just to get spell warding. But that is it. This is it. This is the completed Discipline Priest raid build setup. I think that goes well with 10 or 25-man. Like I said, I don't think there's too much flexibility when it comes to Disc Priest. Like there's just talents that you just have to take. Like we skipped a few here, but they were clearly PvP talents, and the other talent points were just allocated to spaces that we had to take. But this is the complete setup. So we're gonna move on to the glyphs, and I had some already preloaded here. First things first, which is like the only like quote unquote mandatory glyph I would mention, is Flash Heal, because Flash Heal is such a staple in your rotation. Having the glyph of Flash Heal reduce the mana cost by 10% is just a no-brainer to me. So Flash Heal is a really strong glyph, and I think you should just keep it with you regardless till you're doing dungeons, 10s or 25s. Like, you just keep Flash Heal. Next, we have Power Word Shield. So this is going to cause your Power Word Shield to also heal for 20% of the absorption effect when you cast it on somebody. So for instance, if your Power Word Shield does 1k absorb, when you cast it on somebody, it's going to heal them for 500. So really, really strong in my opinion. So yeah. And I think it's affected by Twin Discipline, so has some synergy there. So definitely a cool little glyph. Next, we have Prayer of Healing. I think Prayer of Healing really is a 10-man glyph. So what it does is when you use Prayer of Healing, it also puts a hot effect on it, basically. So when you use Prayer of Healing and you hit all your targets, I believe it's 5 targets. Those 5 targets will have a small hot effect on them for 6 seconds. So in 10-man, where you might not have like a Resto Druid or a Resto Shaman, this can really help you through raid-wide damage phases. Pardon me. And I think it's really strong to say that this glyph goes a long way in 10-man. 25-man, not so much. Still strong in 25-man because it can help ease the burden off of the Resto Druids and the Holy Priests. But definitely not necessary for you to take in 25-man. If you are a mainstay 25-man Disc Priest, I would opt out of Prayer of Healing, and I would. So this doesn't really have too much. They have a couple cool little glyphs. I would say you could probably opt to go with the Glyph of Renew. This is going to reduce the duration of Renew by 3 seconds, but increase the amount healed by 25% per tick. So again, Disc isn't the I'm gonna hot everybody healer. This is just supplementing raid-wide damage, and Renew is a little bit more interchangeable, I would say, between the raid difficulties than Prayer of Healing is. Prayer of Healing is just really strong in 10-mans. I think it kind of falls to the wayside in 25-mans, whereas Renew, I think, is strong in both areas. So Glyph of Renew is one you could definitely opt into for a Prayer of Healing. And really, just like the Shaman video, healer glyphs are kind of tailored to the situation that they're in. So if you're primarily a 10-man guild, then you're going to use 10-man glyphs like the Prayer of Healing, and in my opinion, like Penance. Penance is another 10-man quote-unquote glyph to use because it reduces the cooldown of Penance by 2 seconds. So you're going to be able to get that. In general, you're probably going to use Penance on the tank because he's the one taking the most consistent damage in 10-man. So it's going to help you heal the tank more, where it's just 2 healers. So again, you use your glyphs tailored to your situation. I think the glyphs that I outlined are probably the stronger, most important ones. And as always, for minor glyphs, you pick what you want. I would say maybe the most useful one, or the one with the most usefulness ceiling, is the Shadow Fiend one. So receive 5% of your maximum mana if your Shadow Fiend dies from damage. And the Shadow Fiend can and will die from damage if it runs through something or it just is summoned at a bad time. So kind of gives you some protection against it. But other than that, these are the ones you can use to your own discretion. And that's really it for the Disc Priest. So Disc is, again, I think a Disc healer is more often than not probably going to be one of the MVPs in your raid group. In the right hands, a Disc Priest can definitely make the rest of your healers' burden of healing the raid a lot easier. So be nice to your Disc Priest. But that's it for the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'm loving my pardon me. I'm loving my community that's growing. I'm loving doing these videos and seeing the comments come in, and just I'm happy to be making content and putting it out there. And I couldn't be more grateful with all of the subscribers that I've gotten so far. So Once again, if you like the video, please hit that like. If you want to see more content, please hit the subscribe. I'm going to be rolling these out as frequently as I can. And without further ado, you guys have been great. I've been Soul, and I'm out. Peace.